Hello everyone. It is my honor to speak with you today at the third edition of Ananke's Women in Literature Festival 2023. I recently came across an interesting conversation on a social media platform where someone said that it was time to move on from empowering women and it was time for women to stand in power. I agree. And over the last few decades, we have indeed come a long way, but unfortunately, we still have a long way to go. According to the Global Gender Gap 2022, the world will reach equality only in 132 years. That's not in many of our lifetimes. So for me, the more pertinent question is, what is holding women back? And since we are at a literature festival, let's take a look at the gender gap in the publishing industry. Women make up between 30 and 40% of all published authors. Despite the fact that women comprise almost 50% of all authors, only 32.6% of all books published are by women. While this is an increase from the past, no doubt, it is still nowhere near parity. Is the industry biased towards women? Do readers prefer male writers to women writers? Or are women not writing enough? All of these are true along with many other reasons, but there is indeed a stark difference between how men and women write books, and it is mostly owing to women's caregiving burden. When my partner was writing his first novel, for 3 months, he just retreated into his writing corner. When he wrote, I made sure no one disturbed him. I ensured he ate his meals on time. How did I finish writing my non-fiction book and my novel in the last 5 years? By sheer willpower, by waking up at ungodly hours or by writing late into the night. I had a full-time job as a journalist and I was also the primary caregiver at home. I myself never knew how I was transitioning between writing my articles or the non-fiction work or my novel. I could have probably finished writing both the books in 2 years, but it took me 5 years because I could only write for a few hours a day. And because I was socialized from a young age to internalize the fact that no one could provide care as well as me, a woman, I resisted all help offered by my partner. I have to do it all to have it all, I repeatedly reminded myself. The result was severe burnout. So much so that after my book was published and received very well, I actually would feel exhausted talking about it in events or interviews. I would do whatever I needed to do and then just run back home or to the hotel room and flop back on the bed, just staring at the ceiling for hours. I could never write another book, I thought to myself. It is too draining. Of course, now I am out of that phase and writing my second book. While trying to place my novel, I feel like the burnout from the writing process did not allow me to enjoy the success of my first book as much. I would never have a first book again, but that's that. I have in the past too forced myself not to give up, but the process is exhausting, let me tell you. And it is just too tempting to give up, to leave that job, to say no to assignments, or to not write that second or even first book. What is holding women back across the world from reaching their best potential is their care burden. Women are socialized from a young age to internalize the fact that no one can care or nurture as they can. Caregiving is a massive drain on women's time, energy, and resources. My recent book, Lies Our Mothers Told Us, explores this issue in depth. One of the most striking findings from my research is the degree to which the care burden affects women's career prospects. Studies have shown that women who take on caregiving responsibilities are less likely to advance in their careers and may even face discrimination and lower pay as a result. This not only harms women themselves but also has implications for the economy as a whole, because we are losing out on the skills and talents of women who are being held back by their caregiving responsibilities. And then, of course, there is the emotional toll of caregiving. As we struggle to balance the demands of caring for others with our own needs and desires, we often experience feelings of guilt, resentment, and burnout. This can lead to a range of mental health issues, including anxiety and depression, which can in turn make it even harder for women to meet the demands of caregiving in their own work. I have battled with depression and anxiety throughout my life, and I do believe that it held me back from reaching my best potential. The need of the hour is to defeminize caregiving. Teaching boys the skills of caregiving is where it all starts. It will remove the stigma of caregiving being a feminine job. We can help to revalue this important work and ensure that caregivers are recognized and respected for the vital role they play in our society. This means encouraging both men and women to take on caregiving roles, while ensuring that parents who choose to stay home and take on the primary caregiver role, whether father or mother, are able to provide high quality care without having to sacrifice their own financial security. Caregiving is not rocket science. Men and women are equally able to provide care. And the more we talk about this, the faster change will come. It is time for women to question the roles of caregivers that has been imposed on them. It is time to not take pride in being a superwoman. It is time to put ourselves and our dreams and aspirations on the table. No one can have it all. It's a myth. Having it all is a myth. Women don't need to run after that myth anymore. So take out time instead to read and write and experience the world. To write that book and then another and then another and then maybe another. Or climb that mountain, shatter that glass ceiling. Paint, write poetry, be your best selves. There is no limit to how much or what we can achieve. Half the sky is ours, and that's a vast canvas of opportunity. And it will all start with the small word no. Normalize saying no. Normalize saying no to the burden of caregiving. Demand that caregiving be redistributed among your household members. Normalize putting yourself first. You deserve it. Thank you.